All right, guys, Eric Paulzini with 95 Sports. Going to begin to the Barbasol Championship top picks, the course preview, highlighting the core plays as they come. In this video, I'll also be showing you guys kind of a slight change that I made or slight update I made to the cheat sheet that I've been showing you guys, teasing you guys for the past couple of weeks here on these videos. I think it's a very easy tool to use, and that's really my overall goal. Also, mobile. It's very easy to use on your mobile device as well. The update that I made here is just going to add to that ease for you guys. So I'm pretty excited to get out to you guys. You guys will be seeing that as we go throughout this video. All right, so just getting to the Barbasol Championship real quick, highlighting it. It is going to be a Parkland-style course. It's located in Kentucky. The course name is Keen Trace. The scoring has been pretty easy thus far through the past 3 years that's been at Keen Trace. It is a normal length style course. The greens are going to be bank greens. The designer is Arthur Hills. It's a par 72 course. And then also, key stat-wise, which is nice because we do have that data to go off of, is that we're looking at good drive percentage over the last 10 weeks. We're going to be looking at par 5 scoring over the last 10 weeks. Birdie or better percentage, hole driving, and strokes gained around the green all over the past 10 starts for these players. I guess the only slight problem with that is some of the golfers that we're seeing this week are not going to be golfers that have any data. Some of them are going to be Korn Ferry Tour golfers, or some of them are going to be DP Tour golfers that just haven't had those starts, at least in my database thus far. But that's kind of the fun part about this week. But we'll touch on that a little bit more as we go. Let's get into it right now. All right, so I mentioned like the ease of information for the sheet, which was my overall goal. Okay. The nice thing about it is you just go to this tab, and I don't know, this is much easier when it's DP Tour, Korn Ferry Tour, which is going to be my next goal. But PGA, this is going to be the regular event. And I just called it PGA 2 for this event. Alternative event, I thought that'd be a little bit too long of text, so I just called it PGA 2. But just looking at it, I'll show you guys this with the Scottish Open, a little preview for you guys. So we have it separated out, and this is kind of what I'm calling the what I call it, the data exposure. This is what it's telling us. Oh, the data tag is what I called it, because this is what the data is telling us we should tag a player as. Throughout the years, you guys have heard me say golfers checking all the boxes, and like kind of what goes into checking all the boxes. Well, I finally put that into a formula, and then I updated it into this spreadsheet, which I'm very excited to get to you guys. So let's look at it. Core plays for the Scottish Open real quick. Scotty Scheffler, Jon Rahm, Xander Schauffele. Now, what goes into that? Well, they have really good course history. Now, they only have one start at that course, but the 12th, 7th, and 10th for those guys, really good there. Let's look at it as well. Specialist-wise, they're all top 20 specialists. Specialist is a whole different stat that I entered, but specialist is pretty much just looking at green type, course designer, style of course, weather, location of the event, what type of par is it, par 71, par 70, is it a short track? We're just kind of looking at all that stuff in there. That's going to be the specialist rating, okay? They're all top 15 in that. Course history rank, kind of already mentioned that, but all top 10 in that, with also the caveat that they also have a top 30 finish or better course history-wise as well. Stat rank-wise, we can see all top 20 stat fits. Recent form rank, all, really strong recent form. Thus, they're checking all the boxes this week. Thus, we have no reason to fade them. Thus, they're going to be core plays. We have stuff like high exposure plays, which really just means, hey, they weren't checking all the boxes, but they are still pretty darn good plays. We can see that here as well. Now, for some of the golfers like Will Zalatoris, it might just be because he doesn't have course history. That might be the reason. For someone like Sam Burns, it might just be not that good of a specialist. Or with Sam Burns, for a reason, he's coming off of a miscut. That kind of knocks him slightly, especially for me. We also have fades. Now, fades are kind of a little bit different. It's just, they might be okay plays, but they're more plays you would get on more because of your gut. We can easily see that, Colin Morikawa, besides his last start out, had been playing well, didn't have a good start here last year. Now, yes, he's a great player. You could play him if you want to, but, we don't have any real big reason to play him, okay? So that's the breakdown of this tool, and I'll be touching on that as we get into the Barbasol Championship. So let's switch over into that. Let's go. So the Barbasol Championship is an event that I like. My boy Seamus Power won it last year. My boy Troy Money Merritt won it 3 years ago. And I was able to benefit from that just because, they're kind of my guys and I like that. So I would say one of my guys this year has been Mark Hubbard, especially as of recent. Maybe he wins. Maybe John Hull wins. He's been my guy. He let me down last week, but he could be a good player. But how I want to break this video down now for you guys, maybe going forward as well, it should just break down the categories for you with how the data is telling us. And this is not exactly going to be my personal thoughts, how I would echo it when I, do the deep dive when I'm doing my 9 to 5 write-up, which is, for members and whatnot. When I'm going through my lineup process, my thought process for the whole week's tournament, that could change. Data is there for us to use as a resource, for us to use as a tool. It's up to us for us to decipher whether or not we believe in that this week. And I think the core plays that are listed for the Barbasol Championship are a good indication of that. Mark Hubbard, core play. It makes sense with him. He's kind of just checking all the boxes. Had a 20th place finish at this event last year. 4 years ago, well, technically 5 years ago, we didn't have this tournament in 2020 because of COVID. But 5 years ago, 2017, you guys know I don't like to use 2017 too much, past 4 years for course history. But this was a different course as well. So, we don't really need to include H4 in there, but top 20 finish, specialist, top 10 specialist, course history rank, top 20, stat fit, 33rd, not terrible, pretty solid across the board, recent form, top 5 in the field. So yeah, it makes perfect sense that he's going to be a core play. Now, Taylor Pendrick, this is where, we have to decide. We can't just go straight off of the data. Taylor Pendrick, on paper, great play, like he was last week. I already mentioned this in the last video. He was legit in my best video, or in my best lineup last week, but he withdrew after lineup lock. I had 5 out of 6 across the gut line. I could have switched to someone else in his price point tier, and I would have had a really strong lineup because that lineup, I think it ended up having Denny McCarthy, Charles Howell, Mark Hubbard, and then him, and then some other decent play. It sucked, but that's where this tool, you can see we have to factor that in. Sure, made 3 straight cuts in a row, but he did withdraw from the event last week without actually making the start. So, this is where I probably wouldn't treat him as a core play. I might treat him as a low exposure play because we're dealing with the unknown. We're dealing with that injury. That's for you guys to decide. Now we're going to get into the high exposure plays, those golfers that are pretty strong plays, just not great. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, it's the Barbasol Championship. Some guys are going to be popping that typically wouldn't, and some guys are not going to be popping that you kind of think would. And that's just, it echoes the consistency. And that's kind of the reason why these golfers are going to be playing in these events, because they lack that consistency, at least this year, okay? Or they're golfers that are on the upslope of really strong form, like Mark Hubbard. But looking at Kelly Craft, I was extremely shocked at a bunch of things with Kelly Craft. One, his price point, 8.7. Two, the fact that he's popping up here, okay? Had a second place finish at this event 2 years ago. Recent form-wise, he's made 3 straight cuts in a row with 2 top 30 finishes in there. Specialist-wise, 36th in the field. 21st best stat fit, which not really that great. Recent form-wise hasn't been that good long-term. Okay, and that's why he's getting knocked a little bit here, but not a bad play. And I'll pull up him a little bit further so we can see it. See, that's a slight update. I'm gonna have to hide this, and that's why we do this. That's why I look at it. I'm gonna have to update that. That's why I haven't fully released it out yet. That's why I've kind of just been highlighting it here and there, trying to figure out what stuff I want to update. But recent form, I just look at it as like past 10 starts just to see. So, okay over his last 3. Okay over his last 6. That's pretty good. But after that, just a bunch of bad starts. That's the week that we have, though, with the Barbasol Championship. I hate to say it. So he's okay. Marcel Schneidinger. That's terrible. I just really need to look up how to pronounce these names beforehand. But he is looking like a pretty decent play, okay? So key stat-wise, and his stats are going to be coming from the DP Tour, so slight worry with that. And same thing with the specialist rating. Really strong, though, when we're looking at that. Like, pretty good there. Second best recent form in the field. And was really shocking to me because if you pull him up on DraftKings, if you're looking at on DraftKings, he's only made 6 starts or 6 made cuts this season, but they've all come recently, and that's kind of why he's popping up as a good play. So I'll pull him up there as well. So recent form for Marcel, we can see his last start, 20th. His start before that, 15th, 5th, 4th, 7th, miscut 13th, and then some miscuts. So like his recent form prior to 7 starts ago was really bad, but since then has been really good. And especially in this field, that's going to be looking like a really strong play. So he is someone you could potentially find yourself ending up on. And honestly, I like him as an outright bet as well. Just given those odds, like I could easily end up on him. Maybe you go Kelly Kraft, Marcel, and Hubbard as outright bets. Like I'm perfectly fine with that. Now we're going to get into the mid-exposure plays. The mid-exposure plays, guys, there's a bunch of good ones. Chris Godera, and why is he a mid-exposure play? Even though he's looking like a spectacular play, strong specialist, strong staff hit, strong recent form, doesn't have any course history, and that's really, I guess, where he gets knocked, and that's kind of the caution. That's really it. Strong play. If you guys end up on him, you do. I think he's a fine outright bet. Adam Svensson has been a strong player as of recent. Ended up on him as a cash play last week, even though he's kind of overowned. We can see, strong specialist, 6 straight make cuts in a row. And let's just look at it, like 3 straight top 30 finishes or better, 3 straight top 25 finishes or better. Like he is someone that should be a strong top 20 bet. He should be, and maybe is someone that can put it all together and get the W this week. Potentially, I could see it. Like he's not terrible. Top 10 pick in the 95 mile. Course history, he's getting knocked there. Once again, that's why he's a mid-exposure play. You got to worry about the course history a little bit. But besides that, top 25 staff hit, top 12 in recent form rank, top 10 pick in the 95 mile. Really strong play there. Austin Cook is popping up, guys. Austin Cook, course history-wise, 47th and 4th. Nice to know. That's really where it ends with him. Like staff hit-wise, not that good. Recent form-wise, not that good. Although he's also someone that has made 3 straight cuts in a row, with 2 of those starts being top 30 finishes. So decent there. We can keep going on with that. Like Michael Gallick, guys, top 12 specialist, had a strong finish at this course last year. Stat fit wise, could be better. Could be better there. Recent form rank, decent. We'll take that. 2 made cuts in a row. And he's been someone that's been like casually catching my eye this whole year. I don't know if I really want to pay this much for him, but he's a decent play. Bo Hogg finally found some form last year. Maybe that's something you guys want to go out of your way to play. Yannick Paul. This is a decent play. I like him at 7.3. This is great. He does rank out really well specialist-wise, and, there's not that much data going in there for him. It's about like 8 starts, I think, is what I got on him. So take that for what it's worth. Stat fit-wise, though, pretty good in those 8 starts. 35th in the field or 34th in the field. That's not terrible. Recent form-wise, been really strong recent form-wise. Besides that miscut 2 starts ago, he's been really solid. So I'll pull him up here. Recent form-wise, we can see 58th, miscut 32nd, 16th, miscut 2nd, 16th, 4th, 10th, 64th. So really decent stuff there from him. Like as price point, really all you want from him is to make the cut, and I think he gets us that. Once again, I want to point out the problem with small sample sizes that we had this week for the Barbasol Championship is someone like Paul is looking like a better play than he actually is, okay? And this is where you also kind of struggle with DP Tour players coming over, or sometimes with Corn Ferry Tour players coming over. I haven't found a good way to tell the data that, hey, this is a Corn Ferry Tour player, this is a DP Tour player, adjust it accordingly. Because at the end of the day, like good golf is good golf. I always kind of talk about that, and I don't think we should ignore that. So I haven't found a good way to do that just yet. I know there's like a formula I could do for it. I've tested it. I just didn't like it. So yeah, sure. Is he the 14th best pick this week or the 4th best pick this week? No, he's probably the 14th best pick. But as price point, that's a strong price tag. And I just want to call out some other players here, just right now. So like John Ha, I do really like as a play still, guys. Missed the cut last week on the number with that terrible decision on 18. Or really just a terrible drive. Try to say par. I don't know. I think he was playing for bogey, honestly. It was a weird decision. He could have easily laid up, played for par, and done fine. He missed a cut here last year as well. 9.1, that is a big price tag for him, and that's the worry with him. But still, top 12 pick in the 95 mile, strong specialist, strong staff. It wouldn't be shocking to see him find that form that he had last week. And honestly, like last week's miscut would be a made cut this week, on the number in this field. So I don't mind him. I don't mind Lee Hodges. Lee Hodges has made 4 straight cuts in a row, made the cut here last year. We look at someone like Sam Ryder, strong course history, okay recent form. I think some people are going to like him. Tyler Duncan, what's going on with him? I don't know if I can roster him, to be honest with you. Ryan Moore, 5 straight made cuts in a row now. Seems like honestly, he's the one golfer where we just look at him and we don't bet him and he wins. Like, probably going to be kicking ourselves the most for that with him. Like, that's kind of just how it goes. Let's go a little bit lower though. I want to call it Josh Teeter, the Kentucky boy. He's from Kentucky. So it's really no shock that he's played well at this tournament, 15th, 6th, 40th. But the thing I want to call out is that leading up to this tournament, the last few years, he actually was a much better play than he is this week. He has been playing well, although we can hang our hat on that 22nd place finish in his most recent PGA Tour start, I guess. Still not horrible. Still ranks out as someone that should make the cut, but if you're banking your bucks on kind of narrative, kind of him knowing the course, it definitely says that data-wise. The Kentucky narratives have been working for him. You can do that if you want to. Early long as well, just really quick getting into it. Early long, good recent form, does rank out well. Kind of the same thing I said about the other DP Tour players. He's only missed 2 cuts over there. Actually, I really think he'd be a great cash play. But yeah, that's kind of it, guys. I don't think I need to dwell on like too many crazy plays here. Patrick Flavin, I do want to just touch on this real quick because kind of like what I just said with Josh Teeter, I was thinking long and hard about Patrick Flavin as a value play, just saying, forget about it. He has those local ties. Let's just go with it. And I didn't. The value plays I ended up on did fine. Like, I don't really regret that, but the FOMO factor kicked in there with Patrick Flavin. That was sad. It's like when you had the thought process and then just say, no, I'm good. That's what hurts the most. It is what it is. David Lee Mirth, I actually think, is a fine play. He's been, right around a made cut over his past few starts. Pretty decent recent form given the field. Honestly, I just don't get this price point with him. He's made 2 or 3 starts here at this course. 2 of them have been top 15 place finishes. Strong staff hit. Really just kind of seems like a misprice. But yeah, that's kind of all. That's all I wanted to highlight. And honestly, guys, if you guys like this a little bit better, just let me know. Here, real quick. We'll get into a lineup build here for it as well. That's the Genesis Barbasol. Just to see which lineup would be the best as it sits right now. This is just using their raw stats. I have to enter in still their fantasy projected points. This is just going off of their raw averages, kind of what it's looking like. And this kind of makes sense. Like, it does. It's like I wouldn't be on Scott Brown. Probably not going to be on Sean O'Hare, but Svensson, John Ha, Ryan Moore, those are some interesting names there. So after this, I'll begin the data updated for 9 to 5 members. Take a look at it. If you guys want to run some builds out there, you can. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on the new tool because I think I really like it. I think it's easy to use, and I think it's going to be easier to use for members as well. I mentioned, it is more mobile responsive. I'm just going to try to pull it up here real quick for you guys. So right now, like you can kind of see it, that's how it looks vertically. But if we were to just flip it over here, we can see, boom, there it is. I mean, like, I like it. I mean, I can't really beat that. Like, get off the core plays because I'm on the core plays right now into the high exposure plays. Like, that simple. I'm excited for that. I hope you guys are too. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let's have a good week in DFS and fantasy golf. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, let's keep cashing.